5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Calvin Moore, welcome to Surfing Stuff. Thank you for taking time out of your morning to connect here. How are you doing and what's going on your side?
Morning, Karl. Yeah, I'm good. Nothing much going on the south coast. We've just experienced some heavy rains and seas a mess. Yeah, not much on the surfing side anyway, but life continues. And it's the weekend, so thankful for that. Just relaxing.
One time. Hey, Calvin, the stock standard entry level question for everybody that I've had the privilege of speaking to is when did it all start for you, this thing of surfing, bro? Take us back to the very beginning and just walk us through that.
Yeah, so for me, my father was a lifeguard, and I guess it was just bound to happen. He surfed, and he stripped a very old longboard, which in hindsight I wouldn't mind having now, but anywho, so he butchered a very old longboard and shaped twin fin and glassed it in the lifeguard office at Margate. And I was gifted a surfboard. And that's how I got into it. Him pushing me into waves, it was a bit of a love-hate affair. I was a bit scared of the sea. But yeah, I had no choice. I mean, my father as a lifeguard, you get thrown in the deep end. Yeah, and that was it. Eventually, once the fear abated, it became a passion.
Okay, so you're telling me that you started at Margate Beach, is basically Margate, Lucian, that stretch of the coastline.
Yeah, well, Margate. I mean, in those days, Lucian had was like, I never went there. My dad was the lifeguard on the beach, so come rain or shine, howling northeast, whatever, I just stuck it out and got thundered in the shore break at Margate. We were nippers, we had a life saving club, and that was it. It was a good time, I suppose. If I look back now, I mean, Margate had two sets of locals. There was the bus stop locals up the top on the point, and the lifeguard clubby kind of locals. If you go there now, and not only there, but all the beaches, people don't hang out on beaches anymore. You surf, you get in your car, and you go home. So yeah, I'm privileged and really grateful to have experienced that culture.
Yeah,
it was lost culture.
Yeah, you bring back the Margate Beach, the locals that sat there, and I might be wrong, there was a guy there called Mark King. He used to sit, he used to sit up there, and him and his butty, and I don't remember anybody else. Mark King just comes to mind.
There's a guy called Conrad, I remember him, he was a tall, like, he actually he lost his eye in a surfing accident in the shore break there. His board speared him, unfortunately, and
shame, man.
Didn't stop him surfing, but they all, I don't know about Mark King, I think he might still surf, not at Margate, but yeah, none of those lakes are around anymore.
Yeah, things have changed a lot at Calv. Goodness me, gee whiz. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So it all started at Mugabubwe Main Beach, and with your bully being a lifeguard there. Hey, you know what? To do an interview, Calvin, and not speak about your dad, Les Moore, just in a little bit more depth. That guy was an absolute legend. I remember Calv. Yes, when I saw him the night before he passed away at Tom, Dick and Harry's in Ramsgate. And the next day, he had passed away. But that guy had 3 wakes going on. I'll never forget. There was one at the Village Tavern, Tom, Dick and Harry's, and there was some other pub on the coast. That guy was greatly admired and loved. Can we talk about your dad for a couple of minutes, Calv?
Yeah, no problem. He's he was salt of the earth, the good die young, I suppose.
Yes.
He really contributed a lot to like a good culture in like promoting nippers as a kid. He was involved in the lifesaving club. In fact, he was a very interesting man. He, in the very good old days when I was still a baby, he was a professional lifeguard at Scotborough Beach with Mickey Sadler, and those like to support. You don't earn lots of money as a lifeguard, and you had 3 kids, and those like sort of making rapalas with like probably like woodworking tools that would be scuffed at by woodworkers. whatever they could get their hands on. And those oaks were paddling out on the rescue craft and catching fish to sustain just living, you know.
Wow. Wow.
So I've got photo albums. The family has photo albums of them with really big kingfish and kuta, and it's actually quite impressive. Today, oaks with all the best equipment for standing trophy fish. These oaks were catching those fish. Sometimes there would be a random photo from somebody, mainly just to sell, you know, no bravado. Yeah, he told me a story about the Rapala specifically. There was South Africa had sanctions imposed on it in the 70s, so it was really hard to get anything imported from America. So they just took it upon themselves to make their own Rapalas. You know, they just copied one, and so you know, he pioneered in a way the paddle ski fishing.
Okay.
They were the first oaks to surf the pipe.
At Scotbrook,
He his own boards, owned a combi, went to Irland, surfed J Bay. It's and there was lots of oaks like that weren't maybe posted on magazines and all that nonsense. Those oaks were underground. They did it for the love, and I'm sure everybody, even the oaks that were famous in inverted commas. But they lived an amazing life in the beginning, and then he carried on as a lifeguard for a long time. He and eventually decided to educate himself and became a lawyer. So it's interesting story.
Yes, it's Brew. You know,
it's a success story, but he left us early, so it wasn't a great success story. You know, things happen, but for the time that we had with him, I think 90% yin and only a little bit of yang.
Yes. You know,
he was a good man.
He absolutely was. I really got to know Les in his lawyer days. Not that I did anything wrong, but I used to see him at the pub a lot. And yes, it's Brew. And just a.
It's your podcast, so you like to say these things if you never did anything wrong.
No, we did lots of things wrong, but
can I take over? Yeah. No kidding. Carry on.
Listen, it just amazes me. You know, when I think of Les starting off as a lifeguard, you know, I remember at Sheppey High, you know, the whole idea of lifeguarding and surfing, you're a bit of a bum and a rubbish, you know what I mean? And then for Les to do that whole from the beach to wearing a suit and studying like he did, I mean, that's just such a testament that, hey, listen, we all start somewhere and we can all go somewhere too, you know what I'm saying, if we really put our mind to it, you know. And that was my takeaway with Les, you know. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. If you want something hard enough, I guess that he was a firm believer of that. He was quite into Dale Carnegie and the power of positive thinking and whatnot. So, that's kind of what he did. He decided to do something. He did it. I watched him. I mean, I lived with him, so I'd watch him work a full day and then study till 9, 10, and then wake up at 4 in the morning and train for triathlons. Something else, I don't know, many people know, but he ran a Comrades. He did, I think, 10 Ironmans, proper ultra triathlons.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he was in his time. He also many Scotbrook to Brightons at marathon paddling out at sea. He ran it. He paddled it on a board. He paddled it single and double ski.
Was.
Yeah, so he was a real go-getter.
Wow. Sure. Karl.
Ocean man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He was the waterman, man, for sure. Jeez,
Yeah.
Calvin, I want to.
My twin sister's trying to call me. Can you hear the beeping?
No, I can't.
How's that for a flash? Anyway, we'll get back to you. Let's carry on then.
Not to diminish from our conversation of Les, the legend, but Carl, I want to move on to in the early days. You said your dad built you your first board, and if I think back to the early 90s when I first got to know you, Darren Coney was a good friend of yours, if I remember correct, and his old man had Country Rhythm. Did you from Les's board, did you go to Country Rhythm or did you go straight to Wedge? I want to talk about Country Rhythm surfboards and Wedge for a couple of minutes. Did you
Yeah.
you
So
rode? Did you ride
yeah.
both? And yeah, I'd just love to hear your story about that.
Yeah, so I was also very lucky to live in the town of Margate where Lyle had his factory, and yeah, so I progressed from the glassed-in twin fin that came out of the old longboards. It obviously wasn't high performance, and onto fortunately a second-hand country rhythm that was one of Greg Hasty's old boards.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I couldn't ask for more. I would rather have had a second-hand. Greg Hasty was like a hero. I still like think of him like some kind of a, even to this day. I mean, he really had like a hero. He was famous as a youngster. Anyway, so I was on his board with all the sponsored stickers.
Oh yeah.
And I lived vaingloriously through his board as a sponsored surfer in my mind. So that was cool. And then, yeah, unfortunately, I didn't carry on getting his second-hand boards. And, I mean, although it's nice to get your own, the gotcha stickers disappeared, and then I had to just be me again. So, yeah, so anyway, yeah, I rode the country rhythms, and then the Conies, yeah, they made other plans and eventually immigrated, but even towards the end, he wasn't making boards too much. I think he was getting into boat building, and they had Dave Constance shaping boards underneath there. I think they went onto a board called Double Barrel.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, Lyle didn't really, like at that point he had lost a bit of interest, so the boards were changing, the shapes were changing, and he at that time was moving out. So yeah, I ended up riding Daryl Osborne's boards for a little while.
Okay.
Because yeah, I think I only had 2 boards from there, and then that was onto the wedges, and the rest is history. I think that was Gazzo's yes, what a craftsman to this day.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I saw.
And Lyle's in Australia, but I think Lyle's involved in surfing still, with surfboards and that.
Okay. Yes, I need to get Lyle on this podcast. I'd love to chat to him, eh? Love to.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to him in a long time. He's a really, I mean, I can remember him being a very kind and good chap, eh?
Yeah, she was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit more on Lyle Coney. So, did Lyle grow up on the South Coast, or where was Lyle from? And why Margate, do you think, Calv?
Yeah, well, if you look at Margate now, I don't know what anybody was thinking, but I grew up there. So Lyle, from what I know, I mean, I stand to be corrected because I wasn't, I mean, it was a long time ago. I wasn't extremely close with him, but he was from Scottsboro originally. And then, Margate was like it was busy. I think Scottsboro, Southbroom, all of those towns that are now a little bit busier were really one-horse towns. And Margate had like a jawl and a building and a bit of an industrial area. So people set up in there, and I think it was about a decade where it actually flourished. There was like 3 surf shops in town. There was the Instinct Surf and Style, which was Lyle and his wife, Shelley's.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the legend Ant Brodovich has been there. So, yeah, it was like a hub of surfing at the time. He also had some really good shapers shaping for him in Margate from the factory. They were doing a lot of exports, windsurfers. But he had some really good surfers ride their boards and really good shapers shape with him. And I still don't understand. I think Margate specifically because it had a bit of an industrial area, which you need for surfboard manufacturing on a scale that's for export.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Margate Beach itself isn't the greatest wave, but as we know, the South Coast has got so many accessible good spots.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So maybe that's why he set up. I think it's half business. I don't remember seeing him surf. I think he had stopped quite early and just shaped. Yeah,
Okay.
He left it up to Darren and Ryan, his sons.
Yes. You know, Calvin, when I speak to the Renault brothers, they often bring up country rhythm and Lyle and trips down the coast, and he's spoken very, very highly of. Goodness me! So yeah, I definitely got to get Lyle on here. That's for sure. Yeah,
that would be quite a cool one. I know it'd be a lot of interest from the South Africans at least.
Yeah. Listen, and then wedge surfboards, Gary Maish. How did you meet Gary? What was the connection there, and why wedge surfboards, Calf, in those days?
I don't have a clue how I met Gary, actually. I really don't. Yes, you stumped me there. I'm not sure. We used to surf a bit, when I say a bit, you surfed a lot, but a bit for what was it, Southern Natal in those days, the provincial team,
Okay.
a bit. But I mean, he had come off European tours, and he had achieved so much in professional surfing for the South Coast standards. But I think I was more friends with Justin, his brother, because we're similar ages. And, Justy was winning all the contests on Gazzo's board. So how it happened, I don't really remember, but I think it was just a natural progression. You want to be on the board with the guy winning the contests on, so that's how we got there. And I had ended up being, still to this day, good mates with Gazza. When he lived in Southbrim, we'd spend lots of time together.
Yeah.
He's a really, really, between those folks, I challenge anybody to say that there's a better manufactured surfboard worldwide. I mean, there might be, but how much, I don't know. The quality of those boards and the craftsmanship is, it's a step ahead,
Jeez, Gazza and the hand shaping side of things, it's an absolute marvel. I agree with you, Calvin, 100%.
Yeah. It's actually to their, from a business perspective, it's probably a little bit to their demise, because I've got boards here that I've had for 4 years. I mean, they've been so hard, and the things are still like they look like new.
Yeah.
They just
Yes.
You didn't take on the Henry Ford Model T situation where things need to break and make things to last.
No, they do, bro.
Yeah.
Jeez, Doug. Hey, listen.
Everybody should have a wedge in their quiver. It doesn't matter if you don't ride his boards, but everybody should. I would go as far as to say if you have a passion and you can afford to have a bit of a quiver, you'd be definitely doing yourself an injustice if you didn't have a wedge in there.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what, Calvin? To me, just listening to you talk about Gazzo, I think if you go to the lower South Coast and if you know where his factory is, a trip to the coast without going to Gazzo's farm is that's a tragedy. To visit his farm is an awesome experience.
Yeah. It's like going to the Kruger Park and you only see the big four. You got to see the big five.
Yeah, 100%. And then listen,
it's a mesmerizing experience. I mean, everything about it. It's beautiful.
When you drive up the drive and you look at the house and the paintings around the windows, it's just it's like stepping back into flip, bro, like an unknown hippie time. Yeah, it's weird, eh?
Went back into the 70s, yeah.
Gee whiz. Hey,
sausage dogs.
All we need now is some Hardy-Dars to crank up the volume, and then you need, what else do you need? You need the Hardy-Dars to start, you need your dog to carry on barking, and you need some little monkeys to come so your dog barks even harder. That'll be fantastic. Eh?
Yeah, you need the in the background there.
Yes.
I'm sure you haven't heard a vervet monkey in a while.
Oh, Carl, let me tell you, I tell you what, the sounds of Africa are when you're living there, you forget about it, and it's not a thing. But living outside of Africa, like on a phone call like this, if you hear Hardy-Dars, man, the sounds of Africa are so special, Calf. Gee whiz, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Calv? Right, ladies and gentlemen, Calvin's line's just cut out. I'm going to give him another call and we'll pick up the conversation.
You back?
Yeah, I'm back, bro. I'm back. Calv, just one last... Okay, so we spoke a little bit about Coney, we spoke a bit about Maish. Yes, as I remember, it must have been 10 years ago now, Calv, just before I left the coast. Are you were shaping for a bit? Are you still doing a bit of sideline shaping for yourself, or did that kind of fizzle out?
Well, yeah, it fizzled out, but I actually have you to thank for that, Paul. So this conversation's emoting a lot of memory that I sort of don't think about every day. But yeah, thank you for teaching me how to handcraft a surfboard
and drink beer at the same time.
and then yeah, we had fun. So yeah, as we know. So if anybody is on this planet is listening to this other than us, Karl taught me how to shape, and we did it the old school way. Did a hand shape or two, I think.
Yeah.
And then it was onto the computer shapes, because I'll tell you one thing, you can't just learn what guys like Gary and hand shapers know in a day or two. That's experience. You need 20 years, and obviously I don't have that. So that whole computer shaping is as accessible as it's made, making your own boards, which is really cool. It kind of has, I don't know, it's like taking the art out of shaping a little bit, I would say. But anyway, I'm not too nostalgic about these things.
Yeah.
It's fun making boards, and as far as your question goes, I did it enough to know that I could probably at any stage now get a pre-shaped board and be able to make it one, you know. I did enough. I think I ended up at maybe 40 boards.
Yeah, that's cool,
for me,
man.
I think that's enough to remember how to do it. So, yeah, it was an awesome journey. Nice to have a skill that, you know, you can go back to.
Yes,
I don't want to say it's like riding a bicycle, but actually I do. I reckon if you've done enough of those boards, you're good to go for the rest of those.
Yeah.
You don't forget, you know. Might forget what ratios to mix your hot coats and whatnot, but that's what the internet's for, eh?
Yes, it's brilliant. Me too. I've been shaped for a good while now, Calvin. I think if I had to glass a board now, I would have to YouTube the quantities. I'd have to because I can't remember,
that's
bro.
the only thing, though, but you'd still know how to sand a lap.
Yeah. No, I might stuff up a bit in the beginning, but yeah, one or two boards into it, I think it'll just come straight back. Well, at least I hope so, because I'd love to.
Keep the coats all around, eh?
Oh yeah, yes, it's true.
If anybody's deciding or thinking about making their own boards, you're probably not going to listen to this, but a bit of advice, I'm sure you'll concur there, Karl, is don't skip any of the processes. Because there's no shortcuts. So
no shortcuts.
The board and it's a wreck. It's too late to unglass it, eh?
Jeez, yeah. Calvin, I want to move the conversation away from the shapers and go in a different direction. Your biggest contest win, Calv, what was it, where was it, and when was it?
I don't really think I have one, Karl, and to be honest, I'm of the thought that it's insignificant, really. I think I've come third in nationals before. I did quite well in some air contests in the days when aerials were considered different parts of surfing, which, as we know, it's now not like it. But, nothing major, really, huh?
Okay. Yes, when I think back to the 1990s, Calv, I remember you won that air contest in Umhlanga. I think the prize money was like 10 grand or something like that. I don't know what the contest was.
Yeah, that's I mean, wow. So yeah, they had a speciality contest, threw a whole lot of money into it, and yes, I've been surfing onshore waves 90% of my life, being on the beach and just a kid, you know. So when we got to the contest, it was howling northeast, and it's on my forehand.
Oh, lovely.
And yeah, it just felt like I was at home, and there we go.
Yes.
Yeah, it was, I ended up taking a couple. There was a couple hockey surfers there, but those were kids as well. And you know, it's like, if I think back to time, like explain it. You look at like new sports. I'm going to use foiling as an example, not to talk about it, but the guys that were like the first world champs on a hydrofoil for wing, for instance, in a growing new sport, are quickly nowhere. So, you know, the kids, they just did it so much. Like, for instance, I think Geordie was in there. No, I don't think he was surfing, but he was like 14. And, I mean, there's no comparison. The guys are at another level. So, although it was a win, it was like, if you actually look back at the aerials being pulled and that now, I would scoff at it. I mean, people, 12-year-old kids are doing those in the club contests, bro.
Yeah, no, you're right, Cal.
So we
right.
were not in great shapes, but we were in the right place at the right time, eh?
No, sure. And then listen, talking about the biggest contest win, I'm going to stick on that theme of the biggest. What's the biggest surf that you ever had? You know, for the lighties listening here, Calv, what was the biggest day you had at St. Mark's? Or I don't know if you've surfed Dungeons. I don't know if you've done it. I know you've been to Hawaii. I don't know if you surfed Waimea Bay. But in your mind, what is the biggest surf that you've paddled out in and actually surfed?
Nothing too great. The biggest surf I think I've been out in was at St. Mark's. And it was quite weird because it was such a clean swell that it didn't look good, like really that big. You'd think that somebody who surfed so much then being a lifeguard as it was. Long lulls, tide was great. I got out and realised that I probably shouldn't have been out there. But I mean, I'm no big wave surfer, so I would say it was 12 foot thick, but it was massive. Like, yeah, I only had 2 waves. My first wave, I tried to do a bottom turn, and the wave was just so fast that you had to, 9 foot. It was huge. Gazza paddled out. He had a good wave. And I think him and I were the only 2 people that surfed. For Cooking Saints, that's something, you know. So
yeah.
The 4 of us had tried, so.
Listen, to the listeners listening to this podcast here, when Calvin says, it was like 12 foot, Calvin was a pro lifeguard for many years, and for Calvin to listen, if Calvin says it was big, it was a little bit bigger than big. So just be mindful of that, listeners, please.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, for it to be etched in my memory. Funny, you know, in those days it was adrenaline. If I was put into it now, reaching knocking on the door of 50 in a few years, I'd probably be fearing I would be fearing for my life.
Yes,
when you're young, you don't. It's just more adrenaline, huh?
Yeah. Listen, Calvin, if I had to go back home to St. Michael's and stand on the bricks and jump off, I tell you what, I would probably battle to make it out on a 2 foot day, bro.
Yeah. Oh, well. It happens. When you don't surf, that can be expected, though, Carl.
Yes, yeah. Listen, Calvin, there's a couple more things. I know time's precious to you. A few more things I just want to very quickly bring up with you. Hawaii. Highlights, lowlights. Just very quick talk about Hawaii.
Yeah, so, probably not the most popular opinion, but I think Hawaii is famous because it's easy for American surfers to just climb on a plane and fly there without having visas, and it's close. And It's like the closest to a good wave spot like the Mentawais or Indo or wherever, on French Polynesia, whatever it may be. But, it's just so crowded, man. It really is. So when it is good, I've been twice, and So highlights, let me just get back to the question here. The highlight was visiting my friend Matthew Mens, who's been best mates in school. And the low light was, unfortunately, I would say the surfing, because when it gets good, you've got 40 people out there. 10 of those 40 are in the top 40 of the World Surfing World Championship Tour, and the other 30 are locals that are not going to give you away. So if you're surfing past 6 to 8 foot, 4 to 6 foot, you're getting given closeouts on a waist-deep reef, and nobody's going to tell me that's fun. And then if you don't like, I like the good waves. So the other option is if you're absolute, what do they call them, hellmen, charger, then you can ride really big waves, and that's cool, but that's also, it's just heavy water, you know. I watched Waimea about 20 foot once. I had no inclination of wanting to surf it, but there were 40 people out there going on every wave. It's
yes, it's brilliant.
yeah, it's an amazing thing to see. But the wind more often than not is like here on the south coast. It blows cross shore and choppy, and it's not the ideal place for a surf trip unless you're trying to make a name for yourself in big wave surfing.
Yes, bro. I'm glad you said that, Karl. When I was a lighty, I must have been about 22. I've only been to the North Shore once. I went to Oahu once, and I thought, hey, I took my longboard there, so I vowed there, and I thought, yeah, let's make a name. You know what I mean? Let me tune you. Hey, I've stood there. I watched the Eddie run the one day, and it was the Yo Kelly one. It was the 7th of January 2002. Bro, I stood on that beach there. Obviously, it's an invitee-only contest, so obviously you're not going to surf that day. But, hey, bro, I looked at that surf break, and I realized I don't have the minerals, bro. It was like, I'm not one of the elite.
It's quite an emancipating feeling when you go there and you see what the reality of it, and you know that that's not it. And then you can just let all of those expectations go. It's quite liberating.
No,
you don't have to care. You just surf when you want after that, eh?
Yeah, but
you don't feel like you should be out there.
Yeah, you know what I found. It really scrubbed that attitude I had. I went there thinking, I've surfed St. Mark's at 8 foot, 10 foot, whatever. We can take this on, and to actually accept that, hey, Waimea Bay when it's really doobers. Hey, I just don't have what it takes, bro, to realize that you're not as good as what you think you are. That's hard, bro. That's hard.
It's a nice thing, and you're blessed to be able to realize that as well.
Yes.
As a person.
Oh, bro, then I vowed over to Sunset, Karl. Hey, my first wave at Sunset, I got pitched over the fall so bad. Oh my! I got an absolute beauty. I got a beauty. Yes, bro. Ish.
Yeah. Yeah, I surfed Sunset backdoors around the thing, and Sunset's also not to be full with chocos. Those waves are heavy, man. They're heavy. You're out there, you're like, if my leash snaps, I'm going to get washed out to sea. And then you actually got to swim yourself into the impact zone to get washed in at a lot of those places, because the water's got nowhere to go, and it just rips out in the gullies in the channel. You can't swim in the channel. People sit in South Africa and they're like, that's easy, man. The paddle out's easy, but the reality is the paddle out's a screaming rip.
Yeah.
And you do get out easy, but when you're out there, you can't come in so easy, eh?
No, sure. Listen, Karl, another, just moving on again, Indonesia. You've been out there, or have I got that all wrong? Where have you been?
No. Yeah, I have. I've just after school went to Bali.
Okay.
Which I'm happy about. It doesn't look like a place I'd really braced now. I live in a quiet place. I don't like busy towns and not too much at all. So Bali, that was then, but I've done the Mentawis twice as well.
Okay. Wow.
Once on a shoestring budget, and another time, fortunately, hooked up with Matthew again, and we stayed in the, I would call it the lap of luxury at the wave park in Tawi. That was that was awesome, man. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful place. But there's no buts. Yeah, the Mentawis is awesome. Yes. It's funny though. You can go to a place like that and you're still happy to get home.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. Yeah. Karl, two more last questions for you. First one. Who was your icon when you grew up? You started surfing at Margate Beach. You obviously got involved with Southern Natal and South Shore Surf Club. Who was the surfer that you looked up to? I know you mentioned Greg Hastie was a bit of a legend and all that, but who was the oak that you wanted to be when you surfed?
Carl, that's a question I haven't spared much thought on that. It wouldn't be one at all. If I think back, there's just so many. I'm very blessed to have gone to Port Shepstone high school surfing contests with the likes of Mike Roscoe. And, they dragged Frankie into one or two even. I think I mean, who doesn't well, okay, let's not go and say idolize, because he probably wouldn't like hearing that himself. Very humble man.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
But who doesn't want to take something from the style of Frankie, the absolute mastery of Mark Roscoe, Gordon Turnbull, down on the coast? There was actually ripping. Yeah, there's. I can remember looking up to Jay Steenkamp as a shredder.
Yes,
Brian,
as he could surf that guy. Jay was phenomenal.
Mansfield. Remember Slade Mansfield?
The name rings a bell. I can't put a face to the name though. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, and actually, I can remember Peter Lawson coming down and surfing. He was probably the first pro surfer that I ever was exposed to, and he came and surfed the South Shore contest and won a trophy and made a speech, the Hooded Villain. So anyway, so I wouldn't say one. There's so many here locally, and then obviously, Chiefs, when Kelly Slater Black and White came out, I think I just joined the 99.9% of the surfing population and was like, wow. And it stayed like that for a long time with that chap.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm the generic. No surprises there. The usual.
No, sure. And then last stop here, Kelv. You live in Tweenie on the lower south coast. You guys have got a contest there annually. It's called the Tweenie Twos. What's that all about, Kelv? I've never actually been to one, and I've heard so much about it. Can you just tell the audience a little bit about it? And have you ever won one of them? And love to hear about it.
So that's is brainchild of the Horlocks, Pete Horlock and Derek, his son. They're doing really, really, really good things. I think more than a contest, the Tweenie Twos has become a platform that gives back to the community.
Okay.
So the support and the money raised is all sponsored back to young kids that are achieving and upliftment of the local community. So firstly, before a contest, it's about giving back to the community. And secondly, the whole, the actual contest part of it is quite an interesting concept where you surf as teams.
Okay.
It's super cool. It's kind of unique. So you and your partner, there's a lot of strange tactics that can happen with, in the case where your partner may have had two good waves and you've had one, he's going to definitely pull a block or whatever it might be so that you could get the next good wave. A very interesting concept, and it's really, really gained traction. I think this year, every year, it's just gotten bigger and bigger, and good set. What's another usual story? I think myself and Rooster surfed together, Andrew Langer, mostly, or every time, when we do surf it, and one year we came second.
Okay, wow.
But in those days it was just local teams. It's nice to say you came second in a contest, but
for fully.
Or nowadays the way it's gotten, there's like a lot of pro surfers. So the expectation of that's not not really in the pipeline again. That's got a lot of interest in all the hot sea surfers, and good for it. In most years recently, I've surfed, but I've been more tempted to sit and watch.
Sure.
It's amazing. It's a really, really cool draw. Surf contest, music afterwards.
Okay.
Good food, good vibes. On the beach at the spot, it's like idyllic. It really is an amazing event.
Oh, fantastic, man. Yes. Kelv, I want to say thank you very, very much for taking time out of your morning to make this phone call and to speak to us. It's been flipping fantastic, Brew. Thank you so much, eh?
That's what friends are for, Carlos.
No, sure. Yeah.
If I've got time for, if you don't have time for your mates, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lekker,
cool,
my brew. Shot.
All right.
We'll catch up soon. Thanks, Carl.
Best to the family and everything else, man. Hopefully, I don't know. You should actually start foiling, Carl. I've told you this before. you can edit this out later. You must get a wing foil board and a wing and start doing it. You'll love it.
Yeah, look, Calv, you're right, bro. I'm right here on the fjord. Well, they've got the Trondheim fjord. Yeah, yes, the wind can pump you as well. So, yeah, there is no excuse. But, hey, Calvin, China, my bro, to juggle foiling around with 3 lighties and, so it's you know what I mean?
You only need 40 minutes, man, in the day, if it's so close.
Yeah, 40 minutes with little lighties. Hey, I'd rather sit on the couch at home, bro.
Anyway, yeah.
That one time.
All right, my bro. Sure. Yeah, lekker.
Lekker, Calv. We'll catch up soon, my bro. Sweet.
Cheers,
Ciao.
mate.
Bye.